Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the midday news. The headlines. Uttar Pradesh all set to go for first phase of assembly elections tomorrow. Filing of nominations for seventh phase of assembly polls in Uttar Pradesh to begin tomorrow. Pronouncement of quantum of punishment in the 2008 Ahmedabad serial blasts case deferred, further hearing to be held on Friday. Left-wing extremist violence reduced considerably in the country in the last 12 years, the government informs in Rajya Sabha. A target of providing tap water to 3.8 crore household has been set and 60,000 crore rupees allocated to provide every household with tap water, says government. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to leave on a 6-day visit to Australia and Philippines from tomorrow. Over 171 crore COVID vaccine doses administered so far in the country. Recovery rate stands at 96.7%. Kerala government lifts Sunday lockdown. Schools and colleges to reopen from February 28 with full capacity. And in cricket, second ODI between India and West Indies underway in Ahmedabad. With the new Omicron variant of coronavirus causing concern, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and to get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, to get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. In Uttar Pradesh, all arrangements are being made for the first phase of assembly elections. 58 seats in western UP will go to polls in this phase tomorrow. We now go over to our correspondent for more information. Sushil, UP is all set to go to polls tomorrow. What are the updates from there?
Anuja, Election Commission has made elaborate arrangements for the corona-free polling. Election Commission has made all the necessary arrangements. The kit which is being provided to the polling parties, that includes masks, sanitizers and other things also. And proper following of the corona guidelines will be implemented at the polling stations. Polling time has been increased for 1 hour. In the last hour of the polling, which is from 5 to 6 p.m., that is reserved for the COVID patients. If there are any, they can come at that particular time. So, Election Commission is making all the necessary arrangements which can ensure the corona-free, basically, and infection-free polling. Anuja?
Yes, a little about the polls also and what arrangements are being made by the Election Commission in the backdrop of the pandemic.
Well, Anuja, 58 seats of 11 districts of a state will go for poll tomorrow. This is the first phase of election. Out of these 58, 9 seats are reserve seats. These are Meerut, Ghaziabad, Gautam Budh Nagar, Hapur, Baghpat, Muzaffarnagar, Agra, Mathura, Shamli, Aligarh and Bulandshahr. A total of 623 candidates are in fray. The VIP seats from where these ministers are contesting. It includes Thana Bhavan, from where the sugarcane minister Suresh Rana is fighting. Mathura city seat, from where Shrikant Sharma, the power minister in the state government. Dinesh Khatik is contesting from Hastinapur seat in Meerut district. Atul Garg from Ghaziabad. Sir Kapil Dev Agrawal from Muzaffarnagar seat. The seats which will go for poll tomorrow. Anuja?
Thank you for the update, Sushil. The 7th phase of polling in Uttar Pradesh will be conducted on the 7th of March in 54 assembly constituencies from 9 districts. The process of filing nominations for the 7th and last phase of assembly polls in Uttar Pradesh will begin with the issuance of notification tomorrow. The state is going to polls in 7 phases from the 10th of February to the 7th of March. During the 7th and last phase polling in Uttar Pradesh, the nominations can be filed till the 17th and the scrutiny will be undertaken on the 18th of February. The last date for withdrawal of candidature will be 21st of February. Meanwhile, the picture of the electoral battle in the fourth phase of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh became clear, with mostly multi-cornered contests on cards after withdrawal of candidature last evening. There are total 624 candidates in fray for 59 assembly seats.
In Goa, leaders of various parties, including BJP, Congress, Aam Aadmi Party and Trinamool Congress, are leaving no stone unturned to woo the voters in favour of the party candidates. While addressing election meetings in different parts of Goa, BJP National President J.P. Nadda said the BJP is the only party to represent every section of society because other parties work on the basis of religion, caste and vote bank. Senior BJP leader and Union Minister Nitin Gadkari said the BJP has fulfilled 80% of its election promises. On the other hand, senior Congress leader and leader of the opposition, Digambar Kamath, said Pramod Sawant-led BJP government failed on all fronts. Senior leader of the Aam Aadmi Party, Manish Sisodia, said voters in Goa are looking for change. People want honest government. TMC Goa in charge, Mahua Moitro, said people of Goa had made up their mind to change the BJP government in the state. Independents and other opposition parties also criticizing present government. Meanwhile, Union Home Minister Amit Shah and Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will hold a series of public rallies and door-to-door meetings this afternoon across various constituencies in North and South Goa. Polling in Goa will be held in single phase in 40 constituencies on the 14th of this month. Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra has announced that 487 polling stations in 5 constituencies in Manipur will be exclusively managed by women officials in the assembly polls. These constituencies are Singjemai, Thobal, Yaskul, Wangkhe and Churachandpur. Mr. Chandra made the announcement during his 2-day visit to the state to review poll preparedness. The CEC said the idea behind the move is to provide a pleasant voting experience for female voters and promote equal gender participation in the upcoming polls. Assembly polls in Manipur will be held in 2 phases on February 27th and March 3rd. The counting of votes is scheduled for March 10th.
The Rajya Sabha today continued its discussion on the Union Budget 2022-23. Participating in the discussion, Dr. Amar Patnaik of BJD said the budget has laid emphasis on clean energy. Highlighting the challenges posed by the climate change, he stressed that there is a need to incentivize private investment in the clean energy sector. On the allocation for social sector schemes, Dr. Patnaik said, out of 21 primary social sectors, budgetary allocation for 8 sectors have reduced. He also raised the question over the investment in the health sector, saying that budgetary allocation for health is only 0.33% of the GDP, which is less than the last year. He said the budget is silent about the doubling of farmers' income. K.R. Suresh Reddy of TRS talked about the plight of farmers in the country. He said the centre has to assure the farmers that MSP will remain. Vijay Sai Reddy of YSR Congress said Andhra Pradesh's share of tax has been reducing year after year. Mr. Reddy said this budget does not ensure support to the states. Jharna Das Baidya of CPIM said the budget failed to provide relief to common people. On the other hand, AIADMK MP Dr. M. Thambidurai lauded the budget, terming it realistic. He said enormous initiatives have been taken by the government to protect the economic interest of the country during the COVID-19 pandemic. He urged the government to provide 60 lakh jobs to the youths as promised in the budget. MPs belonging to communist parties from Kerala today held protest in Parliament premises alleging discrimination against Kerala in budgetary allocation. Displaying placards, the MPs raised slogans against the government.
The incidents of left-wing extremism violence have witnessed significant reduction of 77% in the last 12 years. A total of 2,258 incidents of LWE violence were reported in the country in 2009, which has reduced to 509 in 2021. In a written reply in the Rajya Sabha today, Minister of State for Home Affairs Nityananda Rai said that deaths of civilians and security forces due to LWE violence have also reduced by 85% from an all-time high of 1,005 in 2010 to 147 in 2021. He said the geographical spread of LWE violence has come down and only 46 districts affected by it in 2021 as compared to 96 in 2010. The minister said special trust has been given on expansion of the road network, improving telecommunication connectivity, skill development, financial inclusion in the LWE affected areas. The government today denied that it has not slashed the funds for PM Poshan scheme, earlier known as midday meal scheme post-COVID. In a written reply in Rajya Sabha, the Minister of State for Education, Dr. Subhash Sarkar, said the budget allocated under PM Poshan scheme for the year 2019-20 was 9,912.21 crore and was increased to 12,900 crore for the year 2020-21.
The government today said so far 732 live programs have been broadcast on iRadio and about 30 programs were added on the 27th of last month. In a written reply in Rajya Sabha, Minister of State for Education Dr. Subhash Sarkar said 3,348 pieces of curriculum-based radio programs for classes 1 to 12 are being disseminated on 230 radio stations, 132 All India radio stations, podcasts on iRadio and JioSavan mobile apps. He said a total of 33 states, union territories and 8 autonomous organizations have started their courses on Nishtha in 11 languages. National Initiative for School Heads and Teachers Holistic Advancement, or Nishtha, is an integrated teacher training program and was launched on the 6th of October 2020. The land of 610 Kashmiri migrants has been restored in the last 5 years. This was stated by Minister of State for Home Affairs Nityanand Rai in a written reply to a question related to restoration of property of Kashmiri Pandits in Jammu and Kashmir. He said 3,000 state government jobs have been created for Kashmiri migrants under the Prime Minister's Development Package 2015. He added, the JNK's government has appointed 1,739 migrants under the package.
The centre held a meeting with states and union territories yesterday to implement stock limit order of edible oils and oilseeds. The order was notified earlier this month and specifies the stock limit quantities on edible oils and oilseeds up to the 30th June this year. During the meeting, it was emphasized that states and union territories may enforce stock limit quantities order without causing any disruption in the supply chain and undue hardship to bona fide trade. It was informed that in case the stocks held by respective legal entities are higher than the prescribed limits, then it has to be declared on Food and Public Distribution Department's portal and brought to the prescribed stock limits in this control order within 30 days of the issue of this notification. India has crossed yet another milestone in the COVID vaccination drive, with the total vaccination crossing the 171 crore mark today. Union Health Ministry has termed it as yet another achievement in its fight against COVID-19. The recovery rate is currently at 96.70%. Over 1,72,000 people recovered in the last 24 hours. Over 71,000 new cases recorded in the last 24 hours. 1,217 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours.
Health Ministry has said that nearly 169 crore vaccine doses have been provided to states and UTs so far through Centres Free of Cost channel and through direct state procurement category. It said more than 12 crore, 11 lakh balance and unutilized COVID vaccine doses are still available with the states and union territories to be administered. Kerala government has decided to further ease COVID-induced restrictions and lifted the Sunday lockdown. State government has also announced the reopening of schools and holding of classes in full capacity from the 28th of February. Until then, all classes will be held with 50% attendance. Pinnarai Vijayan government also decided to open the post-COVID clinics across the state. It has asked the health department to see appropriate action is taken against private hospitals which have, without proper reason, given monoclonal antibody treatment to COVID-19 patients.
All tourist spots in Andaman and Nicobar Islands have reopened. Tourism activities also allowed with immediate effect. The administration has issued an order after a fall in COVID-19 cases. The night curfew has also been withdrawn. All religious places, parks, gyms, stadiums, playgrounds are also reopened. Social, cultural, political, religious gatherings can also be organized following all COVID protocols. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Uttar Pradesh all set to go for the first phase of assembly elections tomorrow. Filing of nominations for 7th phase of assembly polls in Uttar Pradesh to begin tomorrow. Pronouncement of quantum of punishment in the 2008 Ahmedabad serial blast case deferred Further hearing to be held on Friday. Left-wing extremist violence reduced considerably in the country in the last 12 years, government informs in Rajya Sabha. Our target of providing tap water to 3.8 crore household has been set and 60,000 crore rupees allocated to provide every household with tap water, says government. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to leave on a 6-day visit to Australia and the Philippines from tomorrow. Over 171 crore COVID vaccine doses administered so far in the country. Recovery rate stands at 96.70%. Kerala government lifts Sunday lockdown, schools and colleges to reopen from February 28th with full capacity. And in cricket, second ODI between India and West Indies underway in Ahmedabad. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the Midday News on All India Radio. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will be on a 6-day visit to Australia and the Philippines from tomorrow. In a statement, External Affairs Ministry said Dr. Jaishankar is paying an official visit to Australia at the invitation of his Australian counterpart, Marise Payne. This will be his first visit to Australia as the External Affairs Minister. It will also be the first high-level visit to Australia from India after opening of borders which were closed following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Jaishankar will participate in the 4th Quad Foreign Ministers meeting on Friday in Melbourne, along with the foreign ministers of Australia, Japan and the United States. In Gujarat, an Ahmedabad Special Court has deferred the hearing for the pronouncement of the quantum of punishment in the 2008 Ahmedabad serial blasts case today. Now, the further hearing in this case will be held on Friday, 11th of February. The Special Judge A.R. Patel asked the Defence Counsel to produce all the documents related to convicts in the court by tomorrow and defer further hearing in this case on Friday. Earlier, the court had convicted 49 persons in 2008 Ahmedabad serial blast case, which had claimed 56 lives and left more than 200 injured. In his verdict yesterday, the Special Judge A.R. Patel acquitted 28 accused, giving them the benefit of doubt. Those who were held guilty include Safdar Nagori, Javed Ahmed and Atikur Rahman. The 49 accused were convicted under various sections of the Indian Penal Code, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, UAPA, Explosive Substances Act and the Damage to Public Property Act.
The Union Minister of State for Food Processing Industries and Jal Shakti, Prahlad Singh Patel, said that during the current year, a target of providing tap water to 3.8 crore households has been set and an allocation of 60,000 crore rupees has been made this year's budget for Jal Jeevan Mission to provide every household with tap water. The Central Minister Prahlad Singh, who is on a visit to Puducherry, said this while addressing the media. Mumbai Central Division of Western Railway has achieved a milestone of loading the 100 textile train from Chaltahan, Surat area to Sankrail, Kharagpur Division. The first textile express was started on the 1st of September last year. Railway Ministry today said that achieving this milestone within a span of 5 months reflects growing confidence of Surat textile sector on railways. The ministry said Textile Express fetched total revenue to the tune of over 10 crore rupees to the railways.
Army Chief General M.M. Naravane today had a telephonic interaction with Lieutenant General Fahd bin Abdullah Muhammad Al-Mutair, Commander, Royal Saudi Armed Forces, Saudi Arabia. They discussed the aspects of bilateral defense cooperation during the interaction. And now, let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember tribal freedom fighter Telinga Khadiya, who was born on 9 February 1806 at Gumla, Jharkhand. Telinga Khadiya was well known for his revolutionary thoughts, reasoning skills, and dedication to social service. He spearheaded the fight against the British in Chota Nagpur region from 1850 till 1860 against atrocities and land alienation of tribal people. From ages, tribals in Chota Nagpur region had been following the traditional self-governance rule of Padhar system, and they were almost free from any kind of outside interference. But this autonomous self-governance rule was disturbed by the regulations imposed by the British during 1850s. Tribals were forced to pay revenue on their own land, which they had been preparing and cultivating for centuries.
Poor people had to lose their land when they were unable to repay loans. Telinga organized people to create awareness among them. He created Jury Panchayat in many villages which worked as self-governance rule parallel to the British rule. Telinga raised an army of around 1,500 people who were trained in guerrilla warfare. He attacked Britishers, their middlemen, and every other establishment of the British. British government wanted to suppress this uprising by any means, but Telinga was very alert and used to control his operations mostly from hideouts inside the forest. However, once when Telinga was conducting a meeting at a village Jury Panchayat, the British arrested Telinga and sentenced him to 18 years of imprisonment.
After his release, Telinga revived the struggle against the British. The information about his activities reached the Britishers, and they made plans to kill him. On 23rd April 1880, when Telinga Khadiya was offering daily prayers, he was shot by a British agent named Bodhan Singh. Escaping Britishers, Telinga's followers buried his body at Soso Neemthole village of Gumla district. The burial place is known as the Telinga Topa Tand. This place is considered sacred by the people of Chota Nagpur. Every year on this day, his martyrdom is commemorated by the people, and a week-long Shahid Telinga Mela is organized. Telinga Khadiya is an inspiration for his bravery, sacrifice and martyrdom. We salute the great freedom fighter.
जो मरवानो सीखी ले तो जीवन नो अधिकार तने जो कंटक ने रस्ते चाले फूलो नो सरकार तने सहनशील थे जो जीवे तो सत्य तनो शृंगार तने ओ नरवीर सदा मरशे आदरती मानो प्यार तने.
We also remember freedom fighter Manilal Patel, who was born on 9th February 1922 at Patan district in Gujarat. Manilal, along with his friends, joined the Quit India movement in 1942 during college. He took upon the task to preach the methods of Satyagraha to the people of the neighboring villages around Baroda. On 18th August 1942, after the Satyagraha, they reached Adas railway station to board a train where they saw some policemen approaching them. They were ready to be arrested, but the policemen, without any provocation, opened fire on them. Manilal died of the bullet injuries the same day. We salute the great martyr.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase Hallmark gold jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago.
In Kerala, the army rescued a young man who fell down a steep hill at Malampura in Palakkad district. The youth was lifted about 400 meters and brought to the hilltop this morning using a rope. A report.
The rescue effort of this magnitude was mounted to save the life of a single individual. The effort was spearheaded by the army with the help of the NDRF, police, revenue officials and the public. Babu accidentally fell off a steep hill, forcing him to spend the next 45 hours in a rock cavity. He spent the grueling hours without food or water, braving adverse weather and extremely dangerous conditions. The army team, summoned by the state government, arrived last night, trekked the difficult terrain to reach the hilltop around midnight. He was immediately provided refreshment and was lifted about 400 meters to the safety of the hilltop. A military helicopter airlifted the exhausted youth to Kanjikot, from where he was immediately shifted to the Palakkad District Hospital. Rajmohan, AR News, Kochi.
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal today handed over certificates of permanent services to 700 contractual workers of the Delhi Jal Board. Speaking on this occasion, Mr. Kejriwal said this is for the first time in Delhi government that such a large number of contractual workers are being made permanent together.
Niti Aayog has announced the 5 most improved aspirational districts in the agriculture and water resources sector for December 2021. Malkangiri in Odisha tops the list. It is followed by Chhatarpur in Madhya Pradesh and Baramulla in Jammu and Kashmir. Ramgarh in Jharkhand and Begusarai in Bihar also feature in the list. This is as per Niti Aayog's Delta rankings. In women's cricket, New Zealand beat India by 18 runs in one-off T20 international at Queenstown. Earlier, India's captain Harmanpreet Kaur won the toss and opted to bowl. Kiwis amassed a formidable score of 155 for 5 in 20 overs. For India, Pooja Vastrakar bagged 2 crucial wickets. In reply, India only managed to score 137 for the loss of 8 wickets in the stipulated overs.
In cricket, India were 43 for 3 in 12 overs against West Indies in the second one-day international at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad when reports last came in. The visitors won the toss and opted to bowl. In the 3-match series, India is leading by 1-0 and will look to seal off things today. Vice-keeper KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal have joined the Indian camp after missing the first ODI. Meanwhile, speed star Navdeep Saini is also back with the team after testing COVID negative.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. National capital Delhi is likely to have rain or thunder showers with strong gusty winds. Temperature will vary between 13 and 20 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have partly cloudy sky. Minimum temperature was 14 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 27 degrees. Chennai is likely to have mainly clear sky. Temperature will vary between 23 and 31 degrees Celsius. Pondicherry will have partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature was 21 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 32 degrees. Kolkata will have mainly clear sky. City observed minimum temperature of 15 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 26 degrees. Srinagar will have generally cloudy sky. Jammu will have partly cloudy sky. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Uttar Pradesh all set to go for first phase of assembly elections tomorrow. Filing of nominations for 7th phase of assembly polls in Uttar Pradesh to begin tomorrow. Pronouncement of quantum of punishment in the 2008 Ahmedabad serial blasts case deferred, further hearing to be held on Friday. Left-wing extremist violence reduced considerably in the country in the last 12 years, government informs in Rajya Sabha. A target of providing tap water to 3.8 crore household has been set and 60,000 crore rupees allocated to provide every household with tap water, says the government. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to leave on a 6-day visit to Australia and the Philippines from tomorrow. Over 171 crore 87 lakh COVID vaccine doses administered so far in the country. Recovery rate stands at 96.70%. Kerala government lifts Sunday lockdown. Schools and colleges to reopen from February 28 with full capacity. And in cricket, India were 43 for 3 in 12 overs against West Indies in the second one-day international at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the midday news.